Hey guys, it's tehzomb here to bring you my very first Final Fantasy XIV guide video. I will be talking about what I'm doing and what I might suggest others to do for their Shadowbringers expansion prep. The very first thing that I suggest you do, if you haven't already done it, is finish your MSQ! Guys, what are you doing? Why are you so behind? I love you. Please finish your MSQ. That's very important. If you don't finish it, you will be stuck in Stormblood forever. I kid, not forever. You have time. Just finish it if you want to play Shadowbringers, either on the early access day or on the release. The next thing is to level your main class that you'll be playing for Shadowbringers. I know Dancer and Gunbreaker aren't out yet, and I'm sure there are quite a few of you who are planning on maining those, and we'll get to that in a second. But if you are planning on maining a different class than you're currently playing, make sure to get that leveled and make sure to gear that class up as well. So the second thing that you should probably do is level and gear your main class for Shadowbringers. If you are planning on maining a different class than what you mained through Stormblood, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to get it leveled up. Unfortunately, we can't level Dancer and Gunbreaker, but I will give you some tips to make sure you keep up with that when that does come out. If you're looking to gear up your main class and you haven't quite hit any sort of appropriate eye level, my suggestion is to be at least eye level 380. There are a few ways that you can do this. My preferred way is to level with Tombstones of Genesis, which will give you 390 gear. If you want to go the extra mile, you can do the Evilise raids, and if you get all of the coins from those, then you can upgrade that gear to 400 if you want to go all out. If you don't want to go all out, that's just fine. The Gimlet Dark is the last MSQ dungeon that you can run, and that will drop 375 gear. And if you've completed or haven't started or would like to start the Evilise raids, the last raid, the Orbone Monastery, will drop 390 gear. So if you do any variation of those three things, that should get you to a good enough eye level so that you can continue on with the Shadowbringers story. And on top of that, if you're looking to have some extra alt classes that you want to run, you can work on leveling those and gearing them as well. If you work on it, you should be able to get it done well before Shadowbringers comes out. Now, speaking of tombstones, I highly recommend that you do maximize your Mendacity and your Genesis tombstones. What should happen is you should be able to exchange those for tombstones of Poetics or whatever they're gonna do, which will give you a little bit of a leg up on buying any sort of new items that might come out that you can purchase with Poetics, or you can stock up on whatever. And if you need a good way to stock up on those, just be sure to do your daily roulettes. It's really not that difficult to maximize your tombstones. Mendacity doesn't have a cap, so you can get that all in a week if you really want to. Genesis does have a cap. You can only get 900 per week right now, so it's very doable if you get it all done now. The next thing that you might want to do is make sure your retainers are leveled. Your retainers can only level up to the highest level of the class that you've achieved, that you've given them as a job. So for example, I have my White Mage at level 70. Therefore, my retainer Pumpkin Pie is a level 70 White Mage. Now, if you haven't worked on leveling your retainers, the best way to do this is while you're playing the game. If you're sat around for a few hours for a gaming session, send them out on quick explorations. Those take an hour. They come back with an item. It can be a rare item that you can sell on the market board or that you might want. They only take one venture to send them out on a quick exploration. If you just keep sending them out on those, then they will gain experience and eventually level up. Now, if you're planning on logging out for the night, or you're not planning on playing for a day or so, or whatever, my suggestion is to send them out on a field exploration. These cost 2 ventures and they last 18 hours, so it's perfect if you are not planning on playing for a day, or again, you're logging off for the night or whatever. It's very, very important that you gear your retainers. I know this can get a little bit expensive, but if you have saved your old gear from leveling your classes that you've given the retainers, it can be much cheaper. The better the gear the retainers have, the better chance that you have them bringing back rare items. You can get items such as high cordials or general purpose dye or anything like that. There's all sorts of items that they can bring back. Again, a lot of these items may sell for a lot of money. Some of them can be crap items. Some of them can even be armor. And if they bring back armor that they can actually use, you can always equip it to them, or you can exchange it at your grand company for seals. My next suggestion is to stockpile gil. Now, you may not need too much gil, but I assume that teleportation costs are going to be quite pricey with this expansion, especially if we're teleporting from the first to our version of Limsa Lominsa. Right now, the highest amount that teleportation costs can be is 999. So just kind of keep in mind that you may want gil for that. You'll also want gil for your repairs if you're not leveling your crafter, for any new glamour items or housing items or whatever else comes out. You never know what you might want to spend your money on. So if you work on stockpiling some gil now, you will have a better chance of getting the items that you want sooner rather than later. For my next suggestion, I highly suggest you join a hunt link shell. If you don't know what these are, usually what happens is a few people will either try and spawn hunts or run around trying to find different hunts that have already spawned on the different maps. These hunts can bring back things like allied seals and centurio seals, which can be spent on future riding maps or even like current riding maps that increase your mount speed. One very important thing that the hunt link shell will do for you is it will call out any special fates. For example, we had Ixion and the Fox Lady in Stormblood. So if you want to get those fate rewards so you can get the specialty items in the future expansion, you'll definitely want to be a part of a hunt link shell so that you can be there as soon as that fate pops. Next on our list is making sure to collect your Ventures, Aetheryte tickets, and Grand Company tickets. As we touched on before, in order to level your retainers and send them out on quick explorations or field explorations, you will need Ventures. These can be bought in a variety of ways. Either you can get them from your Grand Company for 200 seals. Beast tribes will trade 1 for 1. If you give them one of the Beast tribe tokens, they'll give you 1 venture. And then the last way is you can trade your allied seals at your Grand Company or Centurio seals in Ishgard for ventures, and it's 4 of those seals for 1 venture. I don't suggest using your allied and your Centurio seals because I highly suggest using those on buying Aetheryte tickets. One way that you'll save money is by using these Aetheryte tickets for teleportation, and these cost 5 allied seals or 5 Centurio seals. And the last thing I suggest you get with your Grand Company seals is Grand Company tickets. These, when used, will teleport you directly to your Grand Company, and they are a little bit pricey. They do cost 2,000 Grand Company seals per ticket. Next on our list to stockpile is experience increase items. These are specifically for your battle classes, although one of them can be used for your crafting and gathering, and that item is food. Make sure you stock up on some food because that does give you a 3% experience increase. While it's not a lot, a little bit does go a long way. And the other thing that you can collect is squadron battle manuals. One thing to note is if your free company is currently using Heat of Battle 3, there's no point in you using the squadron manuals because Heat of Battle 3 gives you 15%. Which is the same as the squadron manuals. The squadron manuals will not stack with the experience boost from your free company, so better to save those when Heat of Battle 3 isn't up or your free company is only using Heat of Battle 2, which only gives a 10% boost. Now on to Rested XP. Make sure you always log your character out in a sanctuary, whether it be your private house, your free company's house, a town, a city, whatever has an aetheryte nearby. Make sure you are always logging your character out in a sanctuary. It does take 4 days to get your maximum Rested XP, so make sure you're constantly logging out in sanctuaries if you are leveling other classes before Shadowbringers, so that you can maximize that potential. Rested XP does give you 50% increase, so it is very, very beneficial to you, especially when leveling to level 80. So on to prepping for Dancer and Gunbreaker. If you are planning on picking up either of these classes, you will most likely get some class gear when you start the quests for these. However, previous battle classes didn't come with your accessories or your belt. So, if Dancer and Gunbreaker end up starting at level 60, I recommend going to Idleshire and at least buying your belt and your accessories for these classes, whether it be tank class or aiming class, so that you can have those ready to go. If you'd like to completely gear out your characters and get all of the battle equipment, you're more than welcome to do that, but just so you know, you won't get your accessories or your belt. So if you're completely prepped with your battle classes and you're looking for something else to do, I suggest leveling your crafters and your gatherers. This can take a bit of time, and there are so many different guides all across Reddit and just the internet and YouTube on how to level both your crafters and your gatherers. I suggest starting off with your gatherers first if you haven't started either of these, and then going on to your crafters, just because you can save a bit of money if you gather your own materials for your crafters. If you have started to level your gatherers and your crafters, make sure to get them to level 70 so it is a bit easier for you to eventually reach that 80 cap in Shadowbringers. There will be a few ways for you to maximize your experience gained from these classes. One, again, is food. Make sure you're always eating food if you're leveling any class. The other things that you can use for leveling your crafters and gatherers, which I suggest stockpiling so that you have it ready to go when you're ready to level from 70 to 80, is the engineering and survival manuals. There are a few different places that you can get these manuals. There are company issued manuals that you can get from your grand company. I don't really suggest getting them from there, but if you are interested in picking them up from your grand company, you can either pick up the company issued engineering or surviving manual 1 for 1,440 seals. That will give you a 50% boost up to 50,000 experience maximum. Or you can buy the company issued engineering or survival manuals 2, which will give you a 50% experience boost up to 100,000 experience. So the reason why I don't suggest buying those is because if you have red scripts, you can actually go and buy commercial engineering or survival manuals for your red scripts. It only takes 30 red scripts to buy one, and you get 150% experience boost up to 300,000 experience. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck if you buy those instead of going through your grand company. If you're getting close to max level on your gatherers and your crafters, or are already at your max level, I suggest maxing out your scripts. These scripts will most likely be exchanged for the newer versions of scripts in Shadowbringers, which can be used to buy gear, crafting items, glamour options, different food items, orchestration roles. There's a bunch of variety of things, so if you just want a leg up on getting some of those things, make sure to maximize your scripts. If you're hoping to get ahead of the game for leveling your crafters and your gatherers, I suggest stockpiling some of the things for Rowena's collectibles. She does use the same items throughout the different levels, even if it is on a rotation. So if you have those items, you will be able to turn those in and get scripts and experience points. Just stick them on your retainers and leave them and forget about them until you're looking to level those classes. One of the last major things that I highly suggest doing is making sure your inventory is completely clean and organized. Sit down, take an hour or so, and organize your inventory, your chocobo saddlebag, and your retainer's inventory. Get rid of items that you don't need anymore, get rid of items that you won't be using. If you can sell any items and make some extra money, do that. If you are looking for items that you might want in the future, my suggestion is to keep a hold of materia. You can use that on your gear in Shadowbringers. You can use it for overmelding, and the prices for materia will likely go up during the expansion. So you can make some decent money by selling your materia that you have stocked up. If you're looking for a good way to get some extra materia, my best suggestion would probably be doing Eureka or Palace of the Dead. You can buy materia through various avenues, so just make sure you are sufficiently stocked up on what you think will be useful to you and maybe even useful to others in the expansion. So if you've cleared off this entire list and you're looking for just some extra things to do while you're waiting for the expansion, you can always do the Crystal Tower raid. This may or may not be important to Shadowbringers, considering, spoiler warning, we will be going back to Crystal Tower. So if you'd like, go back to Crystal Tower, finish up the story from there. Another thing you can do is pick up any side quests that you haven't completed, any of those plus quests that will give you extra dungeons or extra trials, anything that might fill your time. Just as a fair warning, some of those duty finders can be a little bit longer of a wait, but if you're just sitting around doing a whole lot of nothing and you're looking for something extra to do, it's something that can fill your time. If you haven't finished your beast tribes, you can go back and do those. There are a variety of items that you can get from your beast tribes, like mounts and minions, so if you haven't finished those, you can work on that before Shadowbringers comes out, so you're all ready to go for the next set of beast tribes. If you're looking to get some really good gear and you're okay with grinding, I suggest going back to Eureka. There have been some nerfs to Eureka, so it is a little bit easier to get a hold of crystals and light. In addition to that, there are people who set up parties to go into the Baldassian Arsenal, which is the 56-man raid. On the Chaos Data Center, which is on the data center that I play, there is a Discord group called Late Night Chaos who set up the Baldassian Arsenal raid for different times of the day. I will link that down below if you are interested in joining on the Chaos Data Center. They do make accommodation to people who are new, who might not understand the raid. They're absolutely fantastic with answering any questions that you might have. So if you are looking for that, please join there. If you're looking for other data centers, unfortunately I don't have those resources, but they might be listed on the Reddit if you do a search. And the last thing that I might suggest doing, if you are completely out of things to do, is maybe work on stockpiling your MGP for the gold saucer. You never know if they might add a new mount or some new glamour items or even some new minions to the gold saucer. So if you have that MGP stocked up and ready to go, you can just swoop in and buy those items and be done with it. You can work on completing your challenge logs for Gold Saucer, you can work on the fashion report, you can do some gates for fun, you can do your chocobo racing, or even work on your triple triad if you want to collect some of the triple triad cards. And finally, my last suggestion for your Shadowbringers prep. Be sure to take some time away from the game. All of us, I'm sure, have been grinding out a lot of different things within Stormblood, getting ready for the new expansion. We all want to be ready and geared and good to go when the expansion comes out. But we don't want to be burnt out when Shadowbringers does drop. So be sure to take some time away, maybe play some of the games that are currently sitting in your backlog. Maybe get out and take a nice long walk while the weather's nice, cause Lord knows we won't be doing that when Shadowbringers comes out. But I hope this list has been helpful for you guys and maybe helped you find some extra things that you need to do before Shadowbringers comes out. If you have anything that you were doing that I missed, or if you have any goals, I'd be interested to see what your guys' goals are before Shadowbringers comes out in the comment section below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!